Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer right here on the Suhayl the Seeking Fox podcast. Really quick before we jump into today's breakdown, if you could just take a split second to hit that like button, leave a comment, share, and subscribe, it honestly helps us out so much and lets us keep bringing you these deep dives. All right, so today we're exploring an absolutely profound Qur'anic concept. It offers this really striking remedy to our modern human condition. We're talking about Dhikr. Now, you usually hear it translated simply as remembrance, but man, it is so much more than that. It's literally the heartbeat of spiritual awareness.
So I want you to really stop and think about this for a second. What if our deepest crisis isn't ignorance, but forgetfulness? I mean, think about the age we live in. We are absolutely drowning in information, right? We literally have the sum total of human knowledge sitting in our pockets, just pinging us with notifications every single minute of the day. And yet, despite this endless, overwhelming stream of data, there's this pervasive, heavy sense of anxiety, of just being unmoored. What if our ultimate crisis as human beings isn't that we lack information, but rather that we're suffering from chronic forgetfulness? We are spiritually and psychologically starving for something real to anchor us.
Okay, section 1, beyond words. Let's dive right into this because to truly grasp this concept, we have to completely peel back that surface-level assumption that dhikr is just some, mechanical religious practice or just chanting syllables into the void. It's not. It is a highly active, incredibly dynamic state of being. Whenever we want to truly understand a concept, we always look to its roots. The Arabic root here is dhal kaf ra, or DKR, and the definition is incredibly expansive. Yes, it means to remember, but it also means to recall, to be acutely mindful, and, this is the crucial part, to actively bring something into your conscious awareness. This proves that the whole concept isn't just about uttering phrases mechanically on autopilot. It is an active state of living with deliberate, conscious presence. It's about taking a truth and placing it squarely in the very center of your mind's eye.
And this brilliantly illustrates a contrast that the Qur'an frequently draws. On one side, you have the tongue. A person's tongue might be repeating words, right? But their mind could be a million miles away, worrying about some email from their boss or what they're going to make for dinner. But on the other side, we have the true goal, which is the heart. The sources make it so clear that a person remembers not just with their tongue, but with their mind, through deep reflection on creation, through genuine gratitude, and through conscious presence. You see, the Qur'an isn't looking for a repeating tongue, it's looking for a remembering heart.
Moving on to section 2, the sequence of peace. Let's look at how this all builds into the broader architecture of a human being's spiritual journey. Because dhikr, it doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It actually fits perfectly into this beautifully elegant sequence of personal development.
The Qur'an actually maps out this journey with remarkable precision. First up comes huda, which is the guidance that shows you the path. Then comes iman, where the heart accepts and truly believes in that truth. This naturally leads to tawakkul, where a person truly entrusts themselves to the divine. Then, when trials inevitably hit, Sakīnah, which is a temporary tranquility, is sent down to help them through it. And eventually, this matures into Ṭumaʻnīnah. That is a permanently settled, unshakable state of the heart. It's a gorgeous progression, right? But you might be wondering, where exactly does dhikr fit into all of this?
Well, dhikr isn't just the next step on that list. Our sources point out that dhikr is actually the heartbeat of the entire journey. It is both the vehicle for attaining that settled heart and the daily practice that preserves it. It's that continual, deliberate returning of your focus. That's what keeps your hard-won tranquility from just slipping away in the sheer chaos of daily life. And when you maintain that heartbeat, incredible fruits just naturally start to bloom. A heart that is constantly remembering naturally shifts into shukr, which is profound gratitude. That internal gratitude then overflows outwardly into salam, creating real peace with others. And ultimately, that peace matures into which is a lasting security for both the individual and the wider society. And to think, it all sprouts from that single, tiny seed of conscious remembrance.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this specific verse, verse 28, frames the human condition. It outright states that it is specifically in this remembrance that hearts find that settled state, that ṭumaʻnīnah. Why is that? Well, because by default, the human heart is restless. We are constantly trying to attach ourselves to temporary things, money, status, the fleeting approval of other people. But temporary things always fade and they leave the heart anxious all over again. Dhikr acts as this incredibly powerful spiritual anchor. It repeatedly detaches the heart from the temporary and returns it to the only permanent reality.
All right, section 3, a beautiful reciprocity. Because this isn't just some meditative technique to lower your heart rate. It is deeply, deeply relational. Let's take a look at the intimate nature of this practice.
Remember me and I will remember you. Guys, this is one of the most profound promises in the entire text. Just notice the reciprocity happening here. The relationship is not a one-way street, it is an intimate exchange. The initiative is human. We make the finite, limited choice to remember. And the response, it's divine, it's met with the perfect, infinite remembrance in return. It completely elevates a simple act of mindfulness into this active, living dialogue with the divine.
To see how practical this really is, the sources highlight this incredible story of Musa, or Moses, being sent to confront Pharaoh. Think about this. He is about to face the most powerful, tyrannical ruler on earth at the time. Yet the direct instruction he receives is, quote, "And do not slacken in my remembrance." I mean, that is just incredible. Before any grand strategy, before any miracles are even mentioned, the core instruction is to maintain Dhikr. It strongly suggests that the greatest danger Musa faced wasn't Pharaoh's massive army. The greatest danger was actually the internal threat of losing conscious awareness of the divine when gripped by sheer fear.
Which brings us to Section 4, Remembering Who You Are. This is really the climax of our explainer today, because we have to ask, what happens when we fail to do this? What is the ultimate consequence of all this forgetfulness?
So, the crucial point to understand is that the opposite of dhikr is not silence. Actually, scratch that. It's not even close to silence. The true opposite is a concept called Gafla, which means heedlessness or just extreme negligence. While dhikr provides this spiritual orientation, like a compass for your life, Gafla is a total loss of perspective. It is literally sleepwalking through your existence. You become entirely consumed by the transient while completely ignoring the eternal.
And that leads us to one of the deepest psychological insights you'll find in the text. Do not be like those who forgot Allah, so He made them forget themselves. That is staggering when you really unpack it. The text is making the argument that self-knowledge is completely inseparable from knowledge of the source. When human beings sever their connection to the ultimate reality, they don't just lose their religion, they literally lose sight of their own true identity. Sure, they might know their job title, their home address, their salary, but they become totally estranged from why they're actually here and what actually matters in the grand scheme of things.
This is precisely why the Qur'an constantly refers to itself as a dhikr, the reminder. It operates on this core assumption that humanity's primary problem is not that we need some brand new, cutting-edge information. No, our core problem is that we are incredibly prone to forgetting the vital truths we already know, but just constantly neglect. We don't necessarily need to be taught something new, we need to be continuously reminded.
And this beautiful summary really encapsulates our entire explainer today. Dhikr does not make God present, it makes us present to God. Dhikr is not some magic spell to summon the divine, because as the text asserts, the divine is already and always present. Rather, dhikr is the hard work of making ourselves present. Because every single distraction in our day pulls our consciousness outward, right? Toward things that will eventually just disappear. But every act of remembrance reels that consciousness right back in, recentering our entire perspective on the eternal. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. Look at your own life. Look at your phone screen. Look at your daily routines. In a world practically engineered from the ground up for endless distraction, are we just endlessly gathering more information? Or are we taking the time to actually remember who we truly are? Honestly, it's a question worth carrying with you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. If you found this breakdown valuable, please support the Suhayl the Seeking Fox podcast by taking just a quick moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It honestly means the world to us and allows us to keep bringing you more of these structured deep dives. Until next time, stay focused, stay curious, and keep remembering.